Hello and welcome to Climactic. I'm Mark Spencer, your host for today's episode, and today is something different. We are featuring an episode of another show, a competitive news comedy show called Newsball, on which I was recently a guest. I brought some stories on environment, on climate change, and on the ozone hole. But the two hosts of Newsball, Luke and Riley, brought the laughs, and the humor, and the good-heartedness. And that's what I felt like we needed this week. I'm not gonna lie, the news in the last couple weeks has been intense. And every once in a while you need a break, a laugh, and some fun. So keep that in mind and settle in for an hour of fun with a couple new friends. I think you'll really enjoy Newsball, and warmly welcome you to go check them out. There's a link to their show at the very top of our show notes today. So without further ado, here's Luke and Riley from Newsball. And just a message to any parents with children listening, this episode does contain mild, explicit language.
There are dire warnings that New South Wales will be hit by increasingly extreme weather.
2015 was the hottest year since climate records began.
Your show this July was the single hottest month in recorded history.
Australia sweltered through its hottest spring on record.
Climate change is now affecting every country on every continent.
It's the rate that's of great concern.
And what do you put that rate down to?
Oh, it's human activity.
We have everything we need. Some still doubt that we have the will to act. But I say the will to act is itself a renewable resource.
Newsball, the show that turns news into a competition. How many times has the latest headlines happened before? Once, twice, 10 times? Let's find out. 2 men enter, 2 men leave. It's time for Newsball.
It's Newsball.
Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Newsball. I'm one of your hosts, Luke Hickey, joined today by my co-host, Riley Norton. And
hello.
Riley, I tell you what, don't freak out, because if you look to your right, we're actually not alone today. There's someone else.
Synth. It's not a real person.
No, past that. If you look past that,
It's just another synth.
there's someone else here.
Don't talk about Luke's bandmates like that, Riley. They have feelings.
Well, I tell you what, this is a landmark episode because we have with us the host, the prestigious host of the Climactic podcast, Mark Spencer. Mark, hello.
Wow. Hello, gentlemen. Big fan, long-time listener, first-time, joiner.
Yeah, cool. There you go.
That's nice.
Man, well, it's good to have you here. I'm looking forward to this. So usually, I tell you what, each week we take it in turns to present a current news story and a similar historical event to each other. But today it's a little different because we have a guest. We've never done a guest before.
Yeah, so we just took this opportunity to pile the homework on someone else.
Any chance to do less work?
Yeah, we'll
for
do a
us?
collab. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, a little bit different this time because the stories today are brought in by our prestigious guest. That's a good word, prestigious.
Yeah,
I'm going to keep
you've said
using
it.
that.
Yeah, let's
You
really
could go
lean
back to
on that. That
resplendent.
doesn't set up, false expectations. Or
The incredible, genius, smart, funny, charismatic, and very attractive too. So yeah, it's very Mark Spencer.
Excuse me while I have a panic attack.
He's got great hair.
Currently under a beanie,
What's
but
all
you
great
can all
beanie?
imagine it.
Yeah.
It's theater of the mind.
I'm
Just
imagining
think
it.
of great hair.
Wow. Well, before we start the show, it does help to give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, as well as leaving a review / telling a friend. But before we get into the whole podcast, I want to give our prestigious guest here a chance to talk about himself in his podcast. So, Mark, who are you? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I woke up and I'm out here in Baldwin South, and if anyone's hearing this, please send help because I don't see any other houses around in the distance. Honestly, this is
You're stuck here now.
well. Like, look, I am the host of a climate change show, which means I should care about nature, right? But I've got serious agoraphobia being this far out of the city. I'm telling you, like I'm really happy we're above ground and not down in your bunker right now.
Well,
Don't tell me Newsball doesn't have a bunker.
of course we have
had
a bunker.
one.
Yeah.
It's being leased at the moment.
We can go there later. It's fine.
Who is leasing your bunker?
I don't know.
Air, bed, and bunker.
That's actually a good business.
Airbnb, that's what that is, right?
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
Air D&D is another thing I really want to do. Like,
really?
I don't know.
Air Dungeons and Dragons.
Is that playing
Yeah,
Dungeons
why not?
and Dragons while skydiving?
Yes, it is. When I'm not here goofing off with you two, I co-founded a podcast all about the climate crisis because, hey, we're not depressed and angry about enough stuff. So let's pile it on. But no, honestly, I moved to Australia a few years ago and I thought, hey, this is great. I'm not in China anymore where I was for a few years. Your air is clean.
Yeah, I can't make bricks out of the air here.
Yeah, I know. It's a shame for all the local brick makers now actually have to make it out of mud. And
what is this?
They can't just vacuum the air and take enough carbon out to make bricks.
Maybe soon.
Think of the carbon miles of the bricks.
Just wait.
Coming to a town near you, air bricks.
Yeah. Liberal government got your back. We're going to solve the housing crisis. Which housing crisis? There's one. Don't worry.
I'm scared, man. You're making me scared already. We haven't even started the stories yet, and I'm looking like, oh, okay. Jeez. Well, anyway, so as I mentioned before, we usually either I will tell Riley something or he'll tell me the stories. We never heard it before, but now me and Riley have never heard what Mark's going to tell us. So he's got a couple of stories to run through.
Yeah, get ready for a whole bunch of me and Luke stumbling over riffs.
Well, I'm relying on you two, so I'm going to bring some news. You got to bring the jokes, bring the quips, bring the riffs. I was telling this to a mutual friend that I was going to come on your illustrious program to can play the hyperbole game. Your prestigious show. No, you've already taken prestigious.
Yeah.
So illustrious, infamous. Some could
Oh,
say. Yeah.
Whoa!
And he said, "Oh, it's going to be great to have you guest judging the stories that Riley and Luke bring you." And I said, "Oh no, they flipped it. They done turned the game, and I'm bringing them the news.
Yeah,
and they're judging me.
Yeah, well,
I'm a guest.
I was going to ask about that. How are we going to? Should we? Are we judge? Is he
we'll
judging
judge
us?
him.
We'll judge.
I'm judging right now.
You two are out competing the higher score you can give me.
Okay.
I think.
Oh well.
So yeah, I brought a few stories today, all about climate stuff, just to make you feel really good and happy and hopeful and tingly on the inside.
Don't stress, man. I feel bad all the time. I'm there. I'm with you.
So should we get into it?
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm
all right.
feeling it. Don't worry about it.
So rip from the headlines. I've got a story about something that happened 30 years ago. That's how this
we've
works,
done that.
right?
Yeah,
Yep,
we've
that's
done
how it
that.
works.
We've done
Good.
retrospectives before. Don't stress.
Breaking news. 30 years ago.
I thought I had I've got the byline because I think if you're gonna, excerpt someone's work and kind of laugh at it like you did the poor hardworking, what was it, The Sun or some other tabloid?
with the meteor, yeah.
When you rip the shit out of someone's work, at least also say the numpty who wrote it, right?
I don't think it had it on there. I would have done it.
No, it said when the Meteor one was written by staff writers. Because they wouldn't attach the name to it because it was trash.
Yeah. No one proofed this.
I'm really glad they actually protected their reputations, by not associating anyone with that stripe. I feel, guys, are you still worried about that 1 in 70,000 chance of that asteroid?
Every day. I woke up screaming last night.
Woke up
Oh, then you're going to love this story. This is a much higher than 1 in 70,000.
Wait, what?
Anything to distract me from the Meteor Man. I'm down.
All right. So if I told you, Luke and Riley, that this is a time of great political unity and clarity of action on the climate crisis, would you agree with me?
If I looked deeper under the surface than the alt-right versus the alt-left, yes, I could possibly agree there's a bit of unity there.
Because I don't think that's the case at all. And I'm going to tell you how it was a lot better 30 years ago, surprisingly, than right now. And that now we are in a really broken, fractious, terrifying time. But hey, it used to be better under Reagan.
Well,
that's
those
a
were the
weird
days, man. Yeah.
Well, that's what I always say. We should get a famous person to be president. Someone that was already famous before their career. Someone that built their
then we know what they
fortunes from the
stand for,
ground up.
right? They've got a track record.
Yeah. Daddy didn't give them anything. They built it all from the bottom to the top.
Not one of these shifty politicians is going to flip-flop on issues.
Anyone that's only given a small loan, like maybe $1 million.
That's a tiny loan.
Like a
Not
million
including
in passive
inheritance.
income.
You can inherit what you want.
Well, that's fine. Everyone inherits heaps of money.
And we should definitely not tax that. No.
Have a
Tax is
heart.
the devil,
Have a
come on,
heart.
man. What do you want, roads and schools? Fuck off.
Lame.
What a nerd. We're in Belgrade, man. We don't need roads.
So 30 years ago, all 197 countries got together. Did you know how many countries? 197. Like, I feel like we should each start 3 other countries so it's easier to remember a flat 200. Like,
Okay.
200 also feels right.
Yeah, 200. Why stop?
Yeah.
So close.
Either get 3 more or drop 7.
And then,
Yeah.
then some country, like some ethnic minority in a country is like, man, it really sucks not having any representation. We really want to start our own country. It's like, no, that'll be 201, so nah.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't.
Yeah.
We're full? Like,
We're full.
the books are full.
You have to leave.
Sorry, South Sudan.
Yeah.
It's the bouncer thing. Sorry, ladies. 1 in, 1 out.
So, of course, 30 years ago, all 197 countries in the world got together to ban the gases damaging the Earth's ozone layer. This won't be news to you guys. You know all
Cool.
about the ozone crisis.
Yep.
And this is where we can play that sweet ozone song.
Oh, which one?
Maya.
Oh, Can it be the background music as you talk about this
Totally.
everything? Like, and the world is not going very good.
Without ozone. Those were the days when we had ozone on our airwaves and in our atmosphere.
That's why you could breathe so deeply, all that ozone. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
So, of course, we fixed the ozone crisis. Yay! We're not all covered in
Yay.
melanoma. But now we need to unite to combat an even greater threat. And what can we learn from 1989, other than, of course, fashion?
And the year that one of us was born, good year. So, you know.
That person must be old.
Oh, God. I've aged myself. Oh, shit.
They had their shit together back then, Luke. Yeah, you're probably better put together than...
We all had mullets. It was great. Yeah. Neon clothes.
Of the people in the room, I'm pretty sure we've already discussed this off air. I'm the only one to have ever had a mullet.
That's true. Child Riley had a mullet. It was so
the
good.
ultimate mullet.
I think you can still hear it in your voice as well. The after effects of the mullet.
Yeah, it does actually put a permanent twang on your accent. That's actually a fact. Also protects your neck. So
I don't like that.
And as the Wu-Tang Clan were saying in the late 80s, you gotta protect your neck.
that's actually what a lot of Wu-Tang songs were about. Australian culture
And mullets.
Protect your neck about growing a mullet. Bring the motherfucking ruckus actually is about driving up in a Commodore. So
I knew it. I wasn't sure, but I was like, I think that's
Yeah.
what that's about.
Cream. That's actually about Browns, a milk company from Western Australia.
Now that's niche.
It's about legitimate cream. Everyone's like, "Oh, cash rules everything around me." It's actually funny fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually like it was a misspoken word from Ghostface Killer.
Oh, really?
When he said cash, he meant to say cream rules everything around me.
From the dairies.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, makes sense.
So nowadays we've got the anti-globalist chest thumping of Brexit, Donald Trump, and the Brazilian president Jair Bolsonaro. You know, it may sound like the stuff of folklore that 30 years ago we were all getting along. There must have been some big, overwhelming threat that everyone sort of got together to fight against, and we agreed on an ambitious plan of action, and we made it work. And of course, you're both thinking about Godzilla right now, aren't you?
I'm actually just thankful that you've come onto the podcast simply because now I know how to say the word Bolsonaro.
Sorry,
I've read it many times. I'm like, oh, he's fascist. And
Bolsonaro. Bolsonaro. There we go. Bolsonaro.
Yeah, nice.
So the Montreal Protocol, which came into effect 30 years ago, was drawn up to address the alarming thinning of the ozone layer in the Earth's stratosphere. God, I sound like a teacher right now.
Yeah, it's
okay.
I'm learning.
I'm sitting at the front, yeah. I'm those nerds. It's like, yeah.
I'm sitting next to the teacher. Top that.
Oh my God.
What a nerd.
You damn nerd.
Legit teacher's pet.
Just when I'm like using this, school teacher's voice and everything, just imagine I am sitting, backwards on a chair with the baseball cap backwards. I'm the cool teacher. Like, let's rap, kids.
Oh.
Let's talk about the ozone hole.
Yeah, he's actually wearing his beanie backwards right now.
Yeah.
One of you kids, give me a beat. I'll tell you about the environment.
It was the first agreement in the history of the United Nations to be ratified by all 197 countries.
Whoa.
Yeah, Tara, you guys are the songsters. I'll leave it to in your court.
Yeah, Mark Spencer of the Wu-Tang Clan.
The oft forgotten 38th member of the Wu-Tang Clan, Mark Spencer.
He had sweet bars though,
he did drop fire, much like the ozone layer threatened to do to us.
Good segue. Nice.
Yeah,
Teach?
doing my best. I'm aware. I'm like acutely aware that there's 3 people in the room, and I'm like, oh man, it's gonna be so hard to like 4 people in the room.
Four
Rather,
people
my
in
bad.
the room.
Sorry, it's so hard when one of them's silent.
I realized at the
Give
start, I
him a
was
mic.
like, shit. I never mentioned that Alex was here. Do I say anything now? We have a guest as well. Hey, Alex, everybody.
Woo!
If you shout loudly, you can be on all 3 mics. You can be on one of the marks.
Since it came into effect on the 1st of January 1989, more than 99% of the gases responsible for the problem have been eradicated, and the ozone hole, in scare quotes,
Yep.
which in the late 80s vied for headline space with the Cold War, Diana, Princess of Wales, and Madonna, is receding in the sky and the memory. So that's good news.
That's great news.
Fixed it. But how did they do it?
I would like to know, Teach.
Duct tape, probably. I'm going to say duct tape. Before we get into it, I'm pretty highly confident it's duct tape.
And cable ties.
I was at pub trivia the other day. I'm pretty sure I answered this already. It was duct tape.
That's good. Just to extend on how true that is. So the ozone hole label is a misnomer. It's not a hole. It's, if you imagine an onion, and you imagine that outer layer is the upper layer of the atmosphere. It's not a hole in the onion. It's a thinning, like a lens.
Are you trying to tell me right now that Earths have layers? Ogres have layers.
This is why we were unable to solve the climate crisis until Shrek came along.
Yeah, exactly.
That beautiful, beautiful metaphor.
And when you peel layers of the ozone, like onions, it makes you cry.
Just going to drop another fun fact here. Shrek, once the highest grossing film of all time.
No.
Yes.
No.
Sorry, Shrek 2, I meant to say.
No! No!
That makes it worse.
I'm holding out for Shrek. We've already had Shrek 3, Shrek 4 maybe as well?
No, it's Shrek Happily Ever After. That was a TV series. I think we're up to Shrek 6.
How do you know this?
Cool. Well, I'm waiting for the Shrek 6 Inconvenient Truth 3 collab. Like, that's when we really fix things.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. See, I'm a huge fan of that. Any sequel is Mall Cops 2 Electric Boogaloo, but Shrek 6 and Inconvenient Truth 3 Electric Boogaloo doesn't quite do it for me as much.
It has to rhyme with 6 as well.
Well, that's why, because you got to put a colon there and then say the boogening afterwards.
Get this man to Hollywood.
Oh my God, such talent.
Oh, speaking of backslapping, and that was a good one. That was a thigh slapper. I'm slapping your thigh for that. According to the latest UN study, the ozone holes, there were actually 2, one for each pole, because we have a matching set, which is nice. They're healing at the rate of 1 to 3% a decade and will have completely vanished in the northern hemisphere, the lucky fuckers, by the 2030s, and the southern hemisphere by the 2060s. This is cause for backslapping, but also frustration that the world has not been able to unite as effectively over the climate and biodiversity crises. Here are half a dozen issues why not.
Yeah.
Imagery and language matter. I don't know if you guys on this podcast understand that communication is important. It might be news. But
could be fake news though, so whatever.
Could be fake news is also very important. The satellite animation of the changing atmosphere over the Antarctic that we all know and love from 1985 when all of us weren't born yet.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I always like Springsteen, Madonna, way before Nirvana. There was you two and Blondie.
There was
and music steal on MTV. The hole in the ozone is gonna destroy the poles. But we're still preoccupied. 1989. Oh, shit.
Could have gone either way.
Kudos to me for piecing that together.
Yeah, wow.
Normally I have to pause the pod. No, I could do the whole song if you want. Give me, like, every single time we go, I could be like, I could redo the song.
Patrons only.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah.
You can get to our Patreon on. It doesn't exist. So,
so now no one gets it. Are you happy now?
You can send cash directly to...
Well, the wind...
I just figured out which of the 4 of us I had to dox then.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for refraining.
Yeah, I was like, I'll hold it. I was either going to be, I'll hold it, or Luke will bleep it.
No, we'll avoid the work. We'll just cut it out. So there was no ozone hole. scientists lied to us. That was a misnomer. It was a mislabeling. There was no hole in the ozone. But that was such a striking, easy to understand metaphor for us dum-dums that it helped really convey the urgency. And today we're filled with, by contrast, many people today feel distant from climate problems.
Yep. Just like ogres and onions, easier to understand.
Exactly.
Yeah, nice.
And, we're usually illustrating, climate problems now with images of polar bears filled with caveats and headline. And it's really hard to read The Guardian easily. Like, this is some heavy stuff. This is not like over your morning toast. This is like...
Yep. I know your pain, man. I know your pain.
Bring me the sun.
Exactly. Well, it's also hard to read that as well because they don't edit it at all. So
we tried to bring you the sun, but you cleaned up the hole in the ozone.
Let it in. Let it in.
So the wording was very important. Safety first, they say, start acting, use the precautionary principle. If in doubt, cut it out. Speed counts. I'm just going to zoom in through these. And following this advice, speed counts. Governments temporarily put aside Cold War hostilities and united rapidly around a solution to the ozone problem. Now, that actually happened in real life. We didn't even need Godzilla. Like, this happened 30 years ago. Leaders should lead. Whoa, what? In the 80s, the environment was not the polarizing issue it has become, but the dominant figures, including the U.S. President George H.W. Bush, the Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev, and the British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, still had to overcome business interests, treasury doubts, and political short-termism to protect the future health of the planet.
But they did it.
They did it. They refused to accept the delaying tactics of chemical companies, some of which argued action should wait until the science was clearer. Today, and are you ready for the volume increase? You ready for Riley to start popping off? Today, Trump...
Warming up the pipes.
I said the magic word. Bolsonaro and the Russian President Vladimir Putin represent fossil fuel interests, deny science, and undermine international cooperation.
Now, did that clip? I'm not sure, but we'll see.
No, we're good.
Pulled it away.
In the high yellows.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
The burden must be shared. The phased ban on CFCs and dozens of other ozone-depleting gases was an economic blow to chemical firms. Those poor chemical firms.
My heart bleeds for...
My heart literally bleeds.
Better than my skin bleeding.
And my eyes are also bleeding, which is weird. So
everything's bleeding. It's not good.
So it said when I sprayed this thing on my head and in my face, I should avoid getting it in my face. But how do you spray something on your hair without it getting on your face? Oh, please don your gas mask first before spraying your coiffed hair.
But damn, you look good, though.
You do. I wonder, though, actually, Stranger Things, how they got Steve the Hair Harrington in 2019's hair to be that good without... They went proper vintage. They actually used an 80s mall as the set for that latest season of Stranger Things. I bet they fucking used real CFC hairspray. It looked vintage.
You can smell it from the TV,
I can smell it from here.
Yeah. Steve?
Shouldn't be how it normally works, but it was good stuff. It was the real deal.
We'll say, though, that guy's hair is pretty crazy.
It's great. It's great hair. I will say, currently, this is just like a big tangent, which we can cut out at any stage, but I'm so thankful that I have not seen any spoilers for Stranger Things. I haven't seen the third season yet. And the reason why I haven't, it's just the trash articles they always write about it. Instead of the Game of Thrones spoilers that it was, where it was this person dies and this person dies. Every article ever written about Stranger Things is always about how 80s Stranger Things is.
Mm-hmm.
They're always it's so 80s. It's
spoilers,
it's
Jesus.
almost it's set in the 80s.
I
dumb
am
fuck.
so sorry that I told you it was set in a mall, because that's probably the most important thing that happens.
Dude, I was going to say, whoa,
just
hold back.
No, to be honest, let's be honest. Just move. Just move out of that town. Go away. At this stage, on your third monster, and this one looks a bit bigger than the other ones, you'd probably want to leave.
It's like Gotham. Why do you live there?
Yeah.
There's criminal, insane masterminds around every street corner. Just leave. Go to Metropolis or something. Actually, no, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, go on. Yes.
Even the DC Universe Central City, which is a stand-in for Kansas City, a boring place, shit goes down there too. It's a reason why you'd stay in Gotham is real estate's cheap, probably.
It's got to be,
people
right?
keep dying.
Yeah.
So there's a lot, there's churn.
Yeah. This neighborhood's particularly cheap. The Joker does often work here. There's a chemical factory down the road, but damn cheap rent.
Do you guys have rent control? No, we've got population control. It's all right.
Don't worry about it. You won't live long enough to worry about that.
You know, the value on this place was going up, and then Bane came in, and he really did just split the owner in half. And that's with the owner goes the price.
Take back your rentals.
Yeah. Oh, is any of those mugs empty?
No.
I've got one.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
No, they expect one of us at the property, brother. The mortgage rises.
Oh, no. Oh, nice. Well done. So, sorry.
How do you get back to existential terror after that? It's just...
Bane is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bane is scary, but...
Do you know what else is scary? The impending heat death of the planet.
True. If it's worth doing, it's worth improving. So the original agreement, all 197 countries did this Montreal Protocol, the first time that everyone had agreed on doing something, and it was to cut out the use of ozone-depleting chemicals. Awesome. That agreement, 30 years on, is still going, however, and it's actually been amended and it's been improved. So this is kind of like a 30-year-old Commodore.
Yeah, right.
It later on got fitted with LPG, and now it's been electrified. And now we're cutting out HFCs.
Electric Commodore is a good band name.
Ooh. So is the Kigali Amendment.
Whoa.
Just me. No. Okay.
That can be your solo project. Yeah.
That's the real Angels and Airwaves.
Looking at this list, millennial, like we're all guilty of being, might be tempted to conclude that the Montreal Protocol was possible because it came about in a golden age when leaders were smarter. God, yeah, they were. Look at our current leaders.
We're talking Reagan, though.
Mensa. Yeah.
Fun fact, Reagan once said you could reverse a torpedo after it was fired.
Aquaman could.
Yeah.
He had a hotline to Aquaman. He probably acted with him as well.
That could have been Bush, actually. I can't remember. It was one or the other.
Uh-oh. You're throwing shade with that, these guys suck, I think.
Maybe it was because politicians are more representative and populations are more amenable to scientific persuasion. But as anyone alive in 1989, and we're all looking at our token alive in 1989 person
Hell
right
yeah.
now, knows,
wearing the most 1989 shirt.
These times weren't as simple as you think. They were more complicated.
Yeah.
It was a more complicated time than that. The reality is that environmental action was easier then because the world had more ecological breathing room. Capitalism was less dominant, and the corporate pushback and control over politics was weaker. The ozone hole was a relatively simple fix compared with the climate, which is the biggest, most complex, multi-dimensional challenge humanity has ever faced.
I feel good.
Yeah. You guys want to just hang out, have some beers? This is great.
Let's throw down.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's multi-dimensional.
I'm going to end this story one quickly with just jumping forward in time a little bit to when we were all alive and conscious. In 2003, the UN Secretary General, Kofi Annan, we all remember him, he was great. Morgan Freeman would play a great Kofi Annan. I'm just waiting for that to happen. It'd be the story.
We actually have a contact to Morgan if you want.
Is Morgan here? Can we speak to Morgan?
Well, I've been here this whole time.
Red?
Yeah.
Yep.
I've got to go. Because this is as much of the impression as I can handle.
Keep up the good work, boys.
Called the Montreal Protocol, perhaps the single most successful international agreement to date. Sadly, that still applies today. And oh my God, Guardian, you know how to end on a downbeat. That's just... if we had our shit more together in 2003 than ever since, or 1989, the 90s were a good time, weren't they? But we really didn't do the important stuff.
Yeah.
We had Big Jeans, though, and Vanilla Ice. So we did something.
The biggest.
Good.
Well, to be fair, even
entertaining.
Didn't he try as well to get everyone to work together? Didn't he say, all right, stop, collaborate, and listen?
Yeah, he was talking about climate change.
Yeah.
Yeah. The world is in trouble, and I'm here to fix it.
When he said ice is back,
Yeah.
He meant like restore the the ice in the the polar caps.
Yeah, but he did. The reason why it didn't work is because he did like request an outlandishly large amount of vanilla essence to be put in the ice that's being restored.
He was close though, He's visionary.
Yeah, he tried.
I think if he was successful, we'd still have a problem with the ice sheets being depleted because I'd be up there all the time just cutting off little cubes for my beverages. Vanilla ice would be ooh. All right, so now we feel really good that, hey, it was 30 years ago and we fixed the ozone hole. We stopped CFCs. Those are the things
That's awesome.
Yeah. Story 2. This is from The Age, from the 23rd of May, 2019.
Very recent.
By Anna Sella, or Sela. Salleh. You decide how to say that.
C'est la vie. Chinese
industrial areas identified as a major source of illegal ozone-depleting CFC gas.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Look who's back with a brand new invention.
Look who's back.
Back again. China's back. Communism.
China's back. China's back.
Oh, story 1 was
destroying
so
the
long.
earth. Now this looks like a job for me.
Because we need a little less democracy.
Oh,
let's inject a little controversy. We'll deplete the ozone, especially with me.
So luckily this story has a couple key points, and I'll just lay them out and then we can move on. Ozone depleting CFCs are banned everywhere. We knew that, like, everyone banned them. It's like the only time that 197 countries actually said, yes, the bad thing is bad, and they didn't decide to not say it because of politics. So it was unanimous. But evidence last year showed many tons, like just many tons. And when you think about a ton of a gas,
that's a lot of gas.
Look, for me, I'm now just thinking, and I don't know if you guys are gonna like this. I don't know if this reference will scan with anyone, but I don't know if you used to watch professional wrestling back in the day, where it's like it seems as though all the countries have come to an agreement together, and you're, oh wait, is that China's music?
Boom, 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 boom. And China comes out. Oh, it's China! It's
China's back! China's hit the earth with the back of a chair! Oh my god!
He's fighting dirty! Ah!
So it's kind of like if our current reality was, we were in the Matrix and there's the architect and he's planning everything out, but the architect is Vince McMahon? Jesus.
Vis-a-vis, ergo, some...
Hit him with a chair! So, it turns out many tons of CFC-11, which is the worst kind, were still being produced.
Great. Cool.
Air monitoring stations in Japan and Korea.
Hit me again.
Yeah. Japan and Korea got your 1-2 punch. They got air monitoring stations showing evidence China is a major source of the pollution, and continued CFC production contravenes international agreement, and if it's not stopped, it could delay repair of the ozone hole for decades.
No, I'm still good. Hit me again.
Okay. At the time, it is when it was initially agreed on that it should be banned. The head of the United Nations Environment Program told the New York Times investigation that illegal production of CFC-11 was nothing short of an environment crime which demands decisive action. The scale of that crime has now been quantified.
Cool.
Measurements and modeling have shown there's an extra 11,000 to 17,000 tons of CFC-11 per year being emitted into the atmosphere.
Bro, China, come on.
They turned it all the way up to 11,000.
Is anyone? What would a lead researcher from the University of Bristol, an atmospheric chemist called Matt Rigby, sound like?
It'd be ear. Don't feed the pigeons.
Where is he from?
Bristol, in England.
Ear man, yeah. From Bristol, man.
No, it's like ear.
Oh, Bristol's next to Kingston.
Yeah.
Okay, then we found a hotspot over somewhere near Shandong and Hebei provinces, said lead researcher Matt Rigby.
Classic guy.
Matt Rigby is a very, it's a Rastafarian name.
Oh, have you talked to my wife Eleanor?
Hey, Beatles joke.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Some people have proposed that maybe buildings made in the 70s and 80s were being demolished more rapidly. This is terrible. and they could be releasing this pulse of CFC-11 into the air. So maybe there's knocking down a bunch of old buildings that had this stuff in it, but we just didn't find that there was enough CFC-11 locked up in existing foams to make that possible. So they're making new illegal stuff. It's great. It's
awesome.
Like the shiny golden example of how we can work together on environmental issues.
But why work together when you could work behind someone's back and do another thing?
And all it takes is one bad actor. You know, it's like everyone's like just united, and then it's like, come on, you're ruining. You know, now the whole class has detention because you know, were just being naughty in the back. You know,
now the whole class is melting
and is doomed.
Who brought the Ark of the Covenant into class again? Oh, God.
China, what the fuck?
So, what will happen to the ozone hole now, you may ask?
I do ask.
Well, I have the answer.
Oh.
Thanks, age. The hole was the largest in 2000 when it reached 30 million square kilometers, nearly 4 times the area of Australia.
Cool.
But by 2018, it had shrunk to 24.7 million, so more than 5 million square kilometers had shrunk off the hole, and was on track to be largely recovered by around the middle of the century or a bit after. We don't know what impact the recent increase in emissions will have on the ozone hole, but it's not going to go down anymore, so that's fun.
Yeah.
The answer really depends, apparently, on whether or not these emissions cease. And we seem to be really good at making people stop doing bad things. Not.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
I was gonna flag that. I was like, I don't.
Do we? Are we good at that? Are we good at that?
I think Mark's lying.
Yeah.
I think I detect a bit of sarcasm in here.
Is the teacher telling us the truth?
One of the great things I really enjoy about Newsball is that you guys are very earnest in your humor. There's a lot of there's a noticeable lack of sarcasm. So sorry to bring the mood down with the sarcasm.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, geez. So
yes. Hey.
I'm so happy about this.
It's legitimately great for you to be here.
I love holes in the ozone. Oh, so good.
So moving on to a third story, because I come prepared to make up for quality with quantity.
Well, the thing is, you've already outclassed on both, so...
Yeah. You brought this new thing that has never been seen before on Newsball. It's called information, which is quite...
We usually have a tiny seed of information and just sort of make the rest up.
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
I've looked over...
It's called journalism.
I looked over to your phone to see your little script for a second. Yeah, your little script. That was a bit condescending, my bad. But, like, I just
no
saw,
sarcasm,
like...
but
I'm seeing actual paragraphs, whereas mine is listed as dot points.
There's some benefits to your way of doing things. There's some definite benefits. It's just, there's so much. I'm drowning in information.
And existential terror.
Yeah, exactly. But to go back to a time before we were drowning in information, to go back to the halcyon days of 1989 and the Reagan administration, this is a story from Time magazine, which was last relevant in 1989. The Reagan administration officials at first dismissed the ozone hole. Here's what changed. This is by Olivia B. Waxman from April 10th, 2019. And one key point from this is great. So this is not like, oh, hey, wasn't it great how we all just got along in the 80s and did the important thing and it all happened and went like shit through a goose. And it wasn't that smooth. Is
that a phrase?
It is. It is.
I just looked over at Riley's like, I've never heard that one.
Shit through a goose.
I
Which
like
next
it,
time you see a goose now, you'll know that's very accurate.
Oh, my God.
He was right. In one end, out the other. It wasn't this smooth, though, getting the Reagan administration over the line. At the time, President Reagan was in the White House. Environmental policy hadn't been a priority for him and his advisors, who were more focused on fighting the creep of Cold War communism. Sorry, that deserves a better take. Who were more focused on fighting the creep of Cold War communism.
Red Menace.
Or federal involvement in issues they believed the states should handle. Even the revelation of the ozone hole didn't change things, or at least not right away. Reagan's Secretary of the Interior, Donald Hoddle, was ridiculed in the press for reportedly saying in a meeting that an international treaty wasn't necessary to address the damage, and that Americans should just put on sunscreen and wear hats.
Could you imagine being ridiculed for something you said in office? Crazy.
Being held to account by a press by a responsible press corps.
Imagine world leaders saying stupid shit all the time. That would be so dumb. I'm so glad we live where we do.
Yeah, we live through that. That's fine, you know.
Oh
man,
we used to be bad, but things are all better now.
Yeah. Times are definitely over. Do not open Twitter.
Reagan's EPA administrator, Lee Thomas, tells Time now, looking back, that the president was supportive of environmental issues in his experience, especially when it became clear that there was business support and a market for developing alternatives to CFCs. So as soon as he saw that there was some money to be made, Reagan got on board. So it started off, the U.S. and about 24 nations signed the Montreal Protocol, the world's first ever global treaty to reduce pollution and phase out CFCs. The U.S. Senate then ratified it unanimously in 1988.
Damn.
Which, you know, I don't think that's hardly happened since. This is a great news story that, like, you know, the U.S. Congress can't agree on naming a post office.
That's pretty difficult, so, you know.
I think they're quite surprised we still have post offices.
They're like, what?
Just email it, bro.
Just email it, yeah.
So I just thought that was quite funny looking back on it and being like, no, you know, Reagan did have to come around to it, and as soon as he saw there was some money involved, and there was a dumb shit quote out there from someone in his administration saying, "Oh shucks, just put on a big hat, you'll be right."
That is like so rich. It's a rich, creamy dessert of a sentence. You know, like, wow, how dare you? You know, like. You know, we're all burning, and it's like a huge risk of cancer now because of the ozone. Like, heard of sunscreen?
Yeah.
Peace out.
Why are you so upset about cancer? You got chemotherapy. Relax.
We have cures for these things.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes.
I'm trying to think of like the most relevant kind of current like world leader quote that I've heard. I'm actually really struggling. Mostly not because I can't think of one. It's because I'm oversaturated.
They're all equally reprehensible.
I could go back to like when I think it was Malcolm Turnbull in Australia who was like, if you want to buy a house, get a better job. Get a better job, mate.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
You know, speaking for the greenie, you know, the environmentalist wackos that I'm a member of that community, we really loved it when Turnbull came out and said, "Oh yeah, climate change is the greatest moral challenge of our time," and then he proceeded to run the fuck away from it. So it's like you don't say, "Here's the bar. If I was a moral person, I would do this," and then not do it.
Yeah.
Like, and then
well, that's what you did. You missed it. He was running away from the mic, but he was like, "If I was a moral person, I would do this." But I'm not.
See ya. Good luck, everyone.
I'm gonna dump you with ScoMo. It's fine.
To be dumped by a country for ScoMo, it's like it's not even prettier.
To be fair, it is better than Dutton.
That's true. Topical. And for bonus credit to take us, you know, out on a high note, to lighten the mood and add some levity.
I'm getting worried that it's not going to lighten the mood.
I'm feeling like I'm still getting used to the sarcasm thing, but I think that I'm feeling something.
Story number 4, published July 5th by Daniel Turner. And Daniel Turner has a interesting pedigree, and we'll get into that at the end here. It'll be kind of obvious where his views are coming from, because this is an op-ed published in Fox News. So,
yep.
Decades ago, the UN promised climate disaster, so why hasn't it arrived? We ready for this?
I'm feeling good.
I've got a really fair and balanced article for you guys.
Fair
you know,
and balanced.
Can we pull that media forward? You know, can we bring that 1 in 70,000 down to like a 1 in 1? Just clean it up now, or
like we do need some. Yeah, we need a Godzilla. We really, really do, because there's.
If there's any time we've needed Godzilla, it's this time.
This fucking guy. Why isn't it here now? This guy is truly living in the me generation. Yeah. I want it now.
Instant gratification.
And he starts off straight away with admitting to that. He says, "I'm not quite old enough to remember the global cooling scare of the 1970s. Does anyone know what the hell he's talking about?
Cold War.
Oh, yes. He's like, oh,
was that not about temperature?
Yeah.
Or?
The war of the temperatures.
This is cold in Russia, right?
and the media's drumbeat of the coming ice age that would end mankind. I think he might be thinking the Cold War was a war on
actual war of
cold.
temperatures. It was a war between a dad and a mum over the thermostat.
Russia's exporting their
like mom
low
just had a
temperatures.
whole lot of nuclear weapons planted at dad, and dad had a mutually assured discomfort in the household. Really, like what if they'd broken the thermostat?
Oh God,
would have all been over.
Disaster for all.
Yeah. Well, Dad was sitting there like, put on a jacket, and Mum was like, just put on a hat, you'll be fine.
Your mum was Reagan's interior secretary? I think so.
My mum was, yeah.
This tracks. So the global cooling, comment was a link, and so I clicked on it to be like, what the hell is he talking about? And it just took you to like a search for every single Fox News story about climate change. Just like a tag search.
Whoa.
So I went out and did some research, and here's the facts from Wikipedia.
Ooh.
So concern peaked in the early 1970s, though the possibility of anthropogenic warming dominated the peer-reviewed literature even then. A cooling period began in 1945, and 2 decades of a cooling trend suggested a trough had been reached after several decades of warming. So it was thought at the time that the Earth was getting cooler on average for 2 decades. There was some concern at the time that we might be entering a period of global cooling, which we should have been, but instead it got hotter because of the amount of CO2 we were putting out. So,
that's cool.
So he basically, like, the science didn't know what was happening in the 70s, like the models weren't as well worked out. So he points to, at the time they didn't know what was going on, ergo, nothing's going wrong.
Everything's going to be frozen!
Yeah. And so back to our friend Daniel Turner. But I've been told many times the end is near by doomsday prophets who have frightened people into green orthodoxy better than any cult leader. It's like, no, like, I'm a pretty out there greenie. I haven't drunk any Kool-Aid yet.
So wait, what's that behind you in that cup there? Is that Kool-Aid? Oh no, it's water. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. This is artesian water from Norway. in a glass bottle I've reused about 80 times at this point, which is still nowhere near enough to justify having a glass bottle from Norway. It may as well be Kool-Aid.
I have not had Kool-Aid since I lived in America, actually.
I was in America recently. I never had Kool-Aid.
It's okay.
You didn't have the Heaven's Gate flavor, did you?
No.
Oh.
At first I was like, is that
Which I just want to say, like, he's not right. Like, there have been much more successful cult leaders than Bob Brown or Al Gore. Like, people have killed themselves because of cult leaders.
Have you ever heard of, like, the Rajneeshs or Jonestown or, like, oh my fucking
like
God.
all-star cults, man. They got results. Like, we haven't managed to do anything on global warming yet. We're not successful. If we're a cult, we're a really bad cult.
Yeah.
It takes a big man to admit that, but maybe we're a bad cult. We take some better advice from better cults.
The Fox person's like, exactly, see? He admitted it. They're in a cult.
I think for me, something that pulls people into cults, I was watching a documentary about cults quite recently. It was called Wild Wild Country. It is about the Rajneeshs. It was fascinating. What draws people into the cults is the promise that they will get their end wet. So what speaking from one cult follower to a cult leader over here.
Ooh, I've been promoted.
If you want to get people on board with this whole climate change thing, have you proposed being like, yo, let's change, let's fix this whole climate thing, and then you could potentially live to do the bedroom Django Tango.
You didn't mention that. You should have led with that. Yeah. Let's fix the climate.
Speaking of not having sex, this Fox News contributor says, throughout high school, I was told that chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, and aerosols were tearing a hole in the ozone layer and it could never be repaired. Deadly UV rays would give us all cancer because I used spray deodorant. I switched to roll-on. He's a fucking hero.
Dude, oh my God. A martyr even, Wow.
I switched to roll-on a long time ago as well, actually. I actually do quite like a roll-on deodorant.
So do I, actually. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, wow.
I find like the spray really dries out my pits. But moving on to something that might dry out the earth.
Then came the mother of all doomsday scenarios, global warming.
Oh, I thought you were going to say dry pits.
It blew away all other environmental issues like candles on a cake. God, he's a poet.
Like a candle on a cake.
It's a metaphor.
Deadly heats and floods.
And then the rain set in.
Polar bears dying. Alligators and sharks invading. TV shows movies, books. That's really the sentence. I'm not...
Whoa.
Yeah, I know, right?
He's just listing
Watch out.
He's just listing things that he can think of now.
Cats! Lampshade, door...
Bottles.
Desk.
Carpets.
Idiot. That's me.
Dickhead. Oh, wait. Can I do me twice?
Former Vice President Al Gore warned we were all going to die from global warming. 30 years ago this week, the United Nations issued a global warming report that I distinctly remember. It predicted worldwide disaster. According to the report, the Great Plains of America would return to the Dust Bowl. The oceans would rise by several feet, causing low-lying countries like the Maldive Islands and Bangladesh to be underwater. The report said North Africa would bake into wastelands. Rainforests would be gone, as would much animal life. And it was all because of fossil fuels. American greed. Us. Me. Switching deodorant did nothing to stop it. Tough lessons for a 15-year-old high school sophomore. And here we are 30 years later, and I look back at the 1989 report, I think only this. What happened?
I was about to say, like, when he said that America would turn back to the Dust Bowl, I was like, hang on, didn't last year... Like, California's in a massive drought right now. And didn't the entire state catch on fire last year?
Pretty much, yeah.
For, like, a considerably large amount of time?
But hey, it's okay, because it didn't happen. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
Fox News guy said it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. It's happening
I'm
right
surprised,
now.
I'm surprised that him changing his deodorant didn't fix that, though.
Like, he took one for the fucking team.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You can't take that away from him.
Yeah, he's a hero.
He's a martyr. He smelled bad throughout high school, and that's why he didn't get his end wet. And why he's so angry now.
It all hooks together.
Because, from Daniel Turner, the predictions in the report were not just a bit off, like my calculations in my high school math class. My understanding of Shakespeare.
One of us.
Or my failed attempt to high jump.
And my understanding of climate systems.
The UN report was flat out wrong. It was 100% complete opposite, 180 degree wrong.
He's like, it was 360 degrees wrong.
The report claimed we had a 10-year window to fix this or it would be irreversible. It wasn't. The report claimed the Soviet Union would have a bumper crop harvest because of shifting weather patterns. The Soviet Union collapsed months later. So, because the government collapsed of the USSR, what's funny, I looked it up, and the Soviet Union in Ukraine did have a bumper wheat crop.
Hey.
And since then, everyone's been saying, it's just really good for Russia. Like, oh my God, like, we can grow so much more in this frozen tundra now than we ever used to. I wonder why that is. Yeah. Oh, it's because we got rid of communism.
It is because
so much better.
Exactly.
Ever since we could vote, we can grow more things from the ground.
You know, Gregor, if you change climate, you could grow wheat here.
How much you think?
Much wheat.
Would this help to get my end wet?
Oh, yeah.
Good. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Anastasia will greatly appreciate the profits that you bring for wheat. You could drive Mercedes instead of tractor.
Russian Mercedes.
But the UN continues to issue such hyperbolic reports. Its International Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, issued the latest one last December, and it too triggered a countdown clock. The phrase, "we have 12 years to fix this," is parroted by almost every 2020 presidential candidate and their party's de facto leader, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York. On the bright side, we were told we had 10 years in 1989, so at least the prognosis is better this time.
Well,
why issue another report without correcting the first one? That's not the scientific method. Can we ask for a correction? Here's a simple question. What did the UN report get wrong in 1989? After all, this is science, in scare quotes, and one is expected to believe in science. So let's lay out the facts dispassionately and objectively, as any unbiased scientist would. Please identify the error and methodological change or formula or data point that has been corrected. Show your work. Otherwise, why should we believe you got it right 30 years later? Surely the IPCC has the means to do an after-action review. Since the report was issued, the IPCC has raked in over $150 million. I don't think many scientists are raking in a lot of money.
$150 million.
To run the largest peer-reviewed study in the world.
I think, well, that's why people get into science, to make the mega bucks.
Yeah.
You know, so that makes sense. It's so rich.
I mean, he's explained it really well here in this very, very good line. Looks like there's a profit making a profit.
Oh.
Hey, that's
why he got the job.
Yeah, I see what he did there.
But this guy is just a cool dude, hey? Like,
yes.
Wow.
Oh. The coolest. Definitely not warm, I'll tell you that much.
He's very cool. He never gets hot in summers that are breaking temperature records. He never...
June was the hottest... It was the hottest June in Europe ever last month, which was June. Yep. I updated the episode. Fuck.
This is an evergreen episode. Oh, crap. Wow.
So he brings it home here nicely, and he says...
He's still got more. Fuck. Can we have the meteor, like, now?
Yeah, please. The UN has a 30-year track record of being wrong on this issue, apparently. So I take its report on climate change, and we have 12 years left, with a grain of salt the size of the Maldives. So a grain of salt getting smaller every day.
He could have picked a bigger place.
He could have
picked, like, literally, like, any continent and be like, oh, great, but, like, he just chose to... No, it's... just keep going.
In 30 more years, I'll be 75. I can't wait to read the UN report. Bro. And for his byline, Daniel Turner is the executive director of Power the Future, a national nonprofit organization that advocates for American energy jobs. What kind of energy jobs do you think? Maybe solar, maybe wind? Maybe...
We're going to get clean coal.
We're going to get coal. We're going to scrub it. It'll be lovely.
Yeah.
You love it.
I went to the Power of the Future website.
Yep.
And I checked out who they are. And they very proudly say, right on their homepage, who we are. They say, we are the voice of energy workers, pushing back on radical green groups and the ideologues who fund them.
Good.
What's the most radical thing a green group has done?
Lately in Brisbane, the group Extinction Rebellion has taken to stopping traffic at intersections at 10-minute intervals and giving people vegan chocolates while they're waiting, and then saying, okay, it's been 10 minutes, we're going to let you through now, and then they're going to block the intersection again. And so, like, it's kind of like just a public awareness break. It's really bad. It's like, it's giving people vegan chocolates. It's just exposing them to facts. It's really, really bad.
These chocolates don't even have
dairy
in them.
Do you know what? I mean, and I'm not advocating. I actually listened to your episode where you interviewed some people from Extinction Rebellion. I loved it. You should check it out. But you could really con Extinction Rebellion if you got that to do that on the intersection of Punt Road and Swan Street. It would take you 10 minutes to cross that anyway. So you can really just stock up on your vegan chocolates for free.
Are you saying you just like do the block? You walk past the protest and then back around?
Have we seen you before?
So yeah, to sum up all that, we be chilling. Everything's great, you know.
Good. You stole the words from my mouth. Okay, cool. Yeah.
We fixed the ozone hole, and we did. It might be coming back to a town near you. The ozone hole, especially if you live in the southern hemisphere, which we all luckily do. Yeah.
But it's cold now, though. Like, it's it can't be real.
Yeah, no, like
raining outside right now.
It's literally raining right
cold.
now. How could you tell me that it's ever going to be different than that?
It's never going to be summer again. It's no worries.
I like winter. Yeah.
Cool.
I like winter because it allows me to read about how bad it is in other places. Lets me catch up, and then when it's 45 degrees here, I just I curl up in a ball underneath the AC and just I summer hibernate.
Yeah. Like a bear, but reverse. Nice. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. That's just like... That's the thing, though, as well. And there's always going to be, like... He just seems like he's from that generation of people that would be like, when you're like, oh, it's really hot today. It's like that's this... Like, it's something that older Australian guys... You don't know what hot is. Like, oh, you know... And that's how he's just going to be, like, you know... We'll just be like... He'll go to, like... He's going to be the one that like flees to Alaska or wherever it is, like perpetually cold because he's got the Fox News billionaire bunker there, and then he'll just be like, and he'll be like, someone will be like, oh, it's actually quite warm today. But you don't even know what hot is. All of Texas is on fire right now. You don't even know.
Well, there you go. So that's the stories.
That was 4 stories.
There you go. So now I guess as is protocol in Newsball, we go to the judges' table. So,
Newsball protocol.
Ooh, go into the judge's table. And here we are at the judges' table. Well, we just arrived.
Clip,
there you
clop,
go.
Clip, clop.
Thank you.
Just give him 4 points. Get him to leave.
And just to suck up to Mark, I give you full points plus 1, so you get 7 points. There you go.
I'm in a way to suck up a little bit more to Mark.
Oh,
you brought in 4 stories, so you can have 4 points, and they're all so similar, so you can have another 4 points. Yeah, 8 points.
Oh, come on! I got city. Okay, so
and for the bonus category, I give you whatever Luke gave you, but more.
The bonus category for this week is going to be the cool category.
Yeah. I said that a lot,
which I think I did too. Which is we're approaching infinite points with that, which is interesting because it's so cool. It's so cool. Oh man,
so good. Cool. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks for writing in.
Yeah, you want to hang out sometime, Dan? Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Oh my god.
So well done. You got the most amount of points that anyone ever got.
You're actually winning the season so far.
Shit.
We haven't been doing calculation points. Me and Luke have got 4 points every week since we started, so we're on like 18. But I think we gave you infinity. So
yeah.
We'll contact you at the end of the season. Yeah, to collect
check,
the trophy.
Yeah. Well, it's not over yet. You might not.
No,
maybe one of us will get infinite points. So
yeah, you never know.
Plus one, exactly. Yeah. So there you go.
I think it's been fun being a canary in the coal mine, as it were, here, and you sort of work out how guests work, and maybe next time there's a way for you both to get points based on what the guest is brought in.
Yes, I think this is
you could score us on our bants.
This is true. Oh.
Ooh.
Who is the banter king?
Well, okay. There's structural limitations because I'm sitting kind of next to you, Riley, and we're across from Luke. So the eye contact between I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable because I've been staring you down.
I was
staring back.
We got to name this episode.
We do. Do you have any names in your head?
No, I'm actually quite depressed, so I will need a moment.
Do you have any names in your head?
The Cool edition. Right?
That's actually pretty good. Okay, so I just have one. And it's not good as usual, and it's Climate. We're in for some trouble. So so bad.
I'm not a huge fan of mine either because I spent the bulk of that time, like of the bulk of the episode, thinking of something to say. And I was like, for the title, and I was like trying to come up with a title based off of LL Cool J. And I was going to call it the LL Cool J Variety Hour, but I ended up landing on CFC you next Tuesday.
Hey. That's the one.
Yeah.
Let's go with that one.
It's got a weird specificity to it, which I like.
Yeah, it's directed at someone that I didn't want to put directly into the title, but... Yeah, and I was like, I had a bunch of like CFC with like all directed at Daniel Turner with like
you went Breitbart on him,
like or something.
Whoa! Oh shit!
I for one have enjoyed very much this explicit rating on your podcast, and it probably abused it too much. But
can we bleep that? By the way, I'm trying to say less on the pod, so you can bleep that too.
Cool. Thanks, buddy. Well, Mark, it's been great having you here. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, as existential as it got there, it's still a lot of fun.
I was pretty depressed, but also, at least I had my bros to get me through.
Exactly. Climates. Am I right?
Hey. Anyway, I guess that is the show, so I usually have to do a bit here. If you want to contact the show or suggest a story, you can get to us at Newsball Podcast. I always say at. I shouldn't.
That's fine.
Yeah, our email is newsballpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on all social media formats at Newsball Podcast. My personal Instagram is at RilesRoyce, Riles_Royce, I should say. Luke's is
at Full Hickey.
And Mark, why don't you tell us where to find you?
You can listen to Climactic at www.climactic.fm for your weekly dose of depressing things.
Yay.
And we're at Climactic Show on all the socials.
Excellent.
Cool. And I guess just to round it all out, we always say...
See ya.
Bye, Mactic.
Hey. Nice.
Oh.
Ooh, there you go.
Right.
There you go.
Very good.
Thank you for joining us. You've been listening to Climactic, the flagship podcast of the Climactic Collective, a podcast network dedicated to lifting the voices of the climate community. You can find out more about the people behind Climactic and all the shows we produce at climactic.fm. We are a social enterprise podcast network, and we greatly appreciate your support. You can find a link to our Pozible where you can support us directly in the show notes of this episode or from our website. Thank you for listening, and from the whole Climactic Collective, keep up the great work and take care of each other in these climactic times.
The Climactic Collective.